Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but your picture is blocked by something.
I
Is
see.
that normal?
No, probably not. Let's see. I think there's something on the screen. Now? Okay.
We will see if there's something with the record.
April, you're fine.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
Khenpo,
Yeah, now it's fine.
oh, thank you very much. We're so happy to host you, Khenpo. This is our first time on behalf of Tsechen Namdrol, and we had always wanted you to come to New Mexico, to the land of enchantment, and guide us. And of course, through the last year and longer, many of us have not been traveling anywhere. So we're very grateful and very honored that you can join us this evening with our group. And of course, everyone knows that you'll be speaking on the life of Virupa and his practices, and to learn a little bit more about the play of Mahamudra and your new book, which has come out. So thank you once again, and to everyone who was able to come this evening, welcome. Thank you.
Greetings to everyone. And before we start, I wanted to thank April and Maria and others who are part of the Tsechen Namdrol, our center in Santa Fe. And yes, April invited me several times in the past, but somehow whenever you have invited, things came up and I could not make. So I'm very glad, and this is very auspicious beginning that we are going to do some. Actually, it's more like a book talk because Wisdom has published my new book, see the play of Mahamudra. So this is a book based on Mahasiddha Virupa's Doha. See, he has a very profound Mahamudra Doha, which was translated, which we have translated. And then based on that, students have requested me to give teachings on those Doha. And so I have given teachings for many, many weeks. And then from those teachings, now this book is created. So this was released on Sagadawa full moon. And also I did a book talk with the Wisdom. So then I did one with the Sakya Temple in New York, and then with some other groups. And this is now maybe 4th or 5th. So anyhow, today, I'm very glad to share this all with you, all the participants. And also I wanted to thank all the participants for supporting and coming here. And so I wanted to first start the talk with the Mahasiddha Virupa's prayer or the prayers. So I will recite this prayers in Tibetan. Actually, those who have this book, if you have the copy of the book, I have included the translation of the prayers on the page 301. So this prayer is very important. In all the Sakya monasteries, we always recite this prayer. And this prayer was composed by Sachen Kunga Nyingpo, who is the founder of the Sakya school. I mean, one of the first of the 5 Sakya Gongmas. And then this prayer was composed when Mahasiddha Virupa appeared in pure vision around Sakya. And not only Mahasiddha Virupa appeared clearly to Sachen Kunga Nyingpo, but also Sachen Kunga Nyingpo received many instructions and teachings from Mahasiddha Virupa, and then out of those experience, Mahasiddha Virupa, this.
Excuse me, Khenpo, your microphone is turned off, I think. Could you please check your microphone? It appears to be turned off. I'm gonna try to turn it on here.
Hello?
Yeah, maybe.
Okay, you're
Can
back.
you hear?
Yes. Now
Okay.
you're back. Thank you.
Yeah, sorry for that. Sorry for that.
Thank you.
Okay, so I will start with the prayer. So this has lots of blessings. So Namo Virupaya Alala Dele Yeter Dele Dindera Jebe Vazamle De Kande Jesu Beru Vajeba Dage Vado Yuva Imavu Ye Zeye Dova Gunda De Gozon Lonangawa Jeyene Sazele Yande Don Yone Zane Jene Jose De Bayu Dele Punzo De Nye Jove Yenda Zeve Keden Dujala Lam jo den nyan de la pa me yu jo do la ge ja da kan je je den de ne ya mi me a jo ri be ne ga da ji de ne re ge de je ve le den ba la gujaza la zon de jin da jembu jo ma ve wan jo go ve me ve tembe zo jin dam je yen ye ba za den zu ba me la gujaza Kune dube zola nishigo tere je de zeten zene zamo sanju tobe nande de dame ge zonza do yola je vais donner dans le ciel de je vais toujours dans le ciel que je vais voir dans la Ganga doje maro yabo de ye mazone yuga nye jezo nye mele gara ge domodo todo wanju dala goja za de daba ye nye de ye da So Raja Gardi Gadu de Mime Doje Gaye Kunyabe Sunjun de Jere Langu Jata Chena de Shindu Nanda Be Dinye Gona Yodo Doje Da yen yu shi ye sam lam de and min ru za la gu sha za e ma da ye da be ye na ru gu ba ma do ba ji zhen ke nie nge song de de da yang yang song du so te da je ye do je ye cho le chung wa de da ge du zi yu ya be ye na de yang bun zon ze du so je so lo ba ka nam yang rimba ni da mi de chen la ye ge da mi de ba la pembara de do zo gune da be gu su lu ga wa ji ye ra ye de nian bo tu je dem gu ne do je zi wan do bara jo ne wa dem be ne de yang cha be sa dan ga ya ne wa gu mi da ra ja be ge be be ye ru ba ji zun nen ju yi wan ju shen bo ni sa ga bo ye yu yu chul bel zhao men zhao ge pa ri ki zhong ge kya bar ze chue zhe yi cha ye zhen ye sun na wo ba yun du ga ya da ra ya du ko da li ba dun du vi na sa dang je ngu sun du xie si yi ji wang xi chi la lam be she do ji nam zhong ji wang gu di dun ju zan yi ji long dang lam de bu de je be me nga du je ju cha mo ye dang je ban dam sung be tu sa jen yi do ba di ci nyam yi shu le chung wa samap da miti. So the colophon is also included in the translation. So this is a very mystical experience for Sachen because this is not like our ordinary modern history. This is more like hagiography. So in the Sanskrit, hagiography is called vimukti. See, in Tibetan, it's called namtar. Namtar has a meaning of, see, well liberation, vimukti. So in the pure vision in Sakya, Sachen Kunga Nyingpo clearly in the pure vision, then saw Mahasiddha Virupa with his 4 disciples. And then from him, he received all the important teachings. He received empowerment, he received 72 tantric transmissions, and then Lambeshe, the hidden path instruction, etc. I mean, according to history, these are very difficult to prove. Virupa appeared somewhere in India, and Sachen Kunga Nyingpo was in Sakya. So there's a huge difference between time and space and all that. But on the other hand, pure vision is gone beyond the time and space. According to your purification inside you, through your yogic practices, if your channels and chakras are purified, all the elements are purified, all the letters are purified, all the vayu airs are purified, and mind is purified, then you have a very purified system inside you. And because of that, then because inside you is purified through your practices, then you can see another dimension in the outside, which is the pure vision. So this is the reason why I'm sure many of you who are Sakya students and you have received Lamde teachings, and the beginning part of the Lamde teaching is about all the triple vision. So where we are now is impure vision because of our karma, because of our destructive emotions, because of our mind, everything is not purified. So we have this human physical body, which is not necessarily purified. So everything is impure, and as a consequence, we have the impure experience of the samsara. And now those who have entered into the path, say like in the Lamde, then you have started to, you have received the Lamde teaching from His Holiness Sakya Trichen or many other Sakya masters, and you have started to practice the Lamde, especially the essence of the Lamde is in the He Vajra sadhana. And then if you have practiced He Vajra generation stage practice, and more importantly, then the completion practice. And if you see, this is where then you integrate your own present impure life experience into yogi's experience. So the yogi's experience is all the experience in the samsara is suffering. Suffering. Even what we think happiness and pleasure, which we are pursuing all the time, is for the yogi, it's suffering. So that's why we have three kinds of suffering. So if we want to include everything into impure vision in the samsara, the nature of the samsara is just three sufferings. And then out of those three sufferings, see, we are trying to cultivate loving kindness. We are trying to cultivate compassion. We are trying to cultivate wisdom. See, same three sufferings. When we bring into practice through the yogas. So when I say yoga here, yoga doesn't mean, just the physical asana. Yoga, even He Vajra has 10 yogas. Vajra Yogini has 11 yogas. I'm referring to those yogas. So those are the methods to integrate whatever our present experience in the life into a spiritual practice. And then if we are successful, we have the pure vision. So this is the reason we have the triple vision. These are the three dimensions of our life, which practitioners can experience. Of course, if you are not a practitioner, then what you have is only the impure life. Although we may be pursuing all the time pleasure and happiness, but we don't know what we are doing. More we pursue pleasure and happiness, what we experience in life is more misery. That's what we are doing, starting from individual personal life up to the nation's life. Although in our US Constitution, the pursuit of happiness is one of the goals of the nation, but if we ought to ask the question, as a most powerful country in the world, are we happy? Are we satisfied? Are we have the most stressful, mental sickness-filled country? The research is showing that in USA, some of the biggest businesses, pharmaceutical, drugs and alcohols, and then the guns and weapons. So what this is saying about us, we are very sick, we are very addicted, and we are very violent and aggressive nation. So although we are doing everything for the pursuit of happiness, what is the reality is, see, we are a sick nation, because proof is pharmaceutical companies are one of the biggest business, and we are very addicted nation because the drugs and the alcohols are one of the biggest selling business, and we are most violent and aggressive nation because guns and weapons are one of the biggest business here, and maybe we are also selling around the world. So this says something about us. about our collective karma. So this is where, although we all wanted to be happy, but are we happy? This is the challenge we have. So now yogis may not necessarily look happy. They may, I'm sure today, if you meet up with Milarepa or Mahasiddha Virupa, maybe they may be like some homeless guy somewhere in caves, or some homeless punk, who are wandering around the towns. I mean, where I live in Cambridge, and especially in Harvard Square, I mean, this is where the Harvard and MIT and all these intellectual institutions are here. And also we have the biggest biotech valley here. But in the same time, just where I'm doing the Zoom now, my center here in Harvard Square, we also have lots of homeless people. Especially now many teenagers are becoming homeless. And in Harvard, we have started a pioneer project for United States. I was also part of those. And we did some research about why the teenagers are becoming homeless, and they are all over in Harvard Square. See, they sleep in the pavements, and they don't want to go to the homes and with the families. And we did some research, and we found that all the homes from where they came is actually worse than on the street. It's not safe. So this is where we are. On the one hand, Harvard Square's, the real estate market is, according to Harvard, it is so expensive, like Manhattan. It's very expensive, but we have homeless. So these are the backgrounds we have here. But now coming back to the Mahasiddha Virupa, just now, I'm saying all these stories related with the difference between the pure vision and the impure vision. Impure vision is where we are now. And from here to make the leap through the yogi's integration of one's own life into the yogi's practice, it takes a guts, it takes a effort, it takes lots of discipline, it takes lots of patience. So anyhow, when I read the praise for the Mahasiddha Virupa, actually Sachen Kunga Nyingpo is praising the Mahasiddha Virupa based on his biography. So his biography, or the hagiography, is actually method to how to go away from the impure vision of the samsara, and then to become a yogi, and then to have the experience of the pure vision. This is exactly how the process is arranged. So here, if we may relate with Mahasiddha Virupa's life, he was born as prince in India. I mean, the map of India is always changing. So here some say he was born somewhere in eastern India. Maybe it is in Bangladesh, maybe somewhere in Bengal. So anyhow, he was a prince of a kingdom, a principality. Because in those days, India had many, many kingdoms, many, many principalities. So instead of following his father and to become the king, he also rebelled, same like Buddha rebelled against his father. He rebelled against the power. He rebelled against all the politics. basically he rebelled against the worldly power to become king, to future king. So he rebelled and he became monk. And then he studied in that monastery somewhere in Bengal or East India. Then from there, then after a while, he came to Nalanda. So those days, see, Nalanda was one of the greatest center, maybe the first university in the world, maybe. See, before that, before Nalanda, there was education system in India, but those were not very organized like Nalanda. Those were called Gurukul. You know, Gurukul means like within a teacher, then all the students, you know, study with the teacher. They are like a family of the teacher. So that's why it's called Gurukul, you know, Guru family. But Nalanda is different, you know, many different masters. One, some of the greatest masters, maybe present, we can say professors from around the country, they were teaching at Nalanda. So that's where he, as a monk, he went there, he studied under many different masters, and especially under one of the main master, I think it's called Dharmapala, something like that. And so then after he finished his study, he also started to teach at Nalanda. So he was a Nalanda Pandita. He was a Nalanda professor. So some even say around his time in Nalanda, see, Mind Only School and Madhyamika, these are very popular. Of course, I mean, even to study Madhyamika and Mind Only, you know, you also have to study Vaibhashik and material and realist schools, you know, without understanding those, you know, you cannot jump to, you know, Mind Only School and Madhyamika. So when we talk about Mind Only School, first you have to study about the matter. So that's where I'm sure, you know, they have studied Abhidhamma Kosha and all the Vaibhashik and tantric schools. And then they also studied the Mind Only School philosophies. And then when you were studying Madhyamika, you have even gone beyond the mind to the emptiness. So anyhow, because at his time, Mind Only School and Madhyamika is popular, so sometimes people misunderstand Virupa as someone who is the teacher of Mind Only School. But I heard even the Shantarachita, who is one of the most important Nalanda master who introduced Buddhism in Tibet, and who is the one who invited Padmasambhava to the Tibet. Actually, Shivato, the Shantarachita, was actually the grand student of Mahasiddha Virupa. Not only that, the Chinese traveler Hongshang, I think his teacher was also a student of Mahasiddha Virupa. So this is the reason why Mind Only School was popular in China. So in this way, see, the lineage of Virupa actually is in the Tibetan, see, lineage with the Shantarachita, as well as in the Chinese lineage. So it's very important. So anyhow, Mahasiddha Virupa, during the day, he will do he teaches, you know, all the sutra, and then in the night, for his own personal practice, in the night he will practice tantra. So according to his biographies, then he used to practice Chakra-samvara, because Chakra-samvara was very popular, you know, in India. Also, it makes sense. Chakra samvara means will of supreme bliss. See, we in our impure vision of this samsara, which is in nature of suffering, See, to transform this, we all are looking for happiness and pleasure. So the best thing we can experience is the supreme bliss. Although I cannot say supreme bliss is pleasure or happiness. You know, you experience the chakra samvara, the supreme bliss, the will of supreme bliss. Only you have gone beyond the feelings and the pleasure and happiness. You know, all the pleasure and happiness, all the feelings, 5 kinds are rooted in the ego. Only when you see the nature of the ego, egolessness, then you have the supreme bliss of chakra samvara. So anyhow, Mahasiddha Virupa, for many years, he practiced chakra samvara. And then he was frustrated. Maybe he was impatient to get enlightened. So he was frustrated that he was not progressing on the tantric path of chakra samvara. And in frustration, there's an episode where he got so frustrated and he wanted to stop the practice, and he threw his mala into toilet or something like that. But that same night, he had the pure vision of the Naratmya. So although people sometimes make a case that, oh, the chakra samvara did not work for Mahasiddha Virupa, but I would say, I'm sure the chakra samvara practice worked on Mahasiddha Virupa. Otherwise, he will not have the vision of the pure vision of the Naratmya. So anyhow, Naratmya appeared, and then Naratmya initiated him into Naratmya's mandala and the Hayavajra mandala. And now, since he had seen the pure vision of Naratmya, this is a very important turning point in his life. Once you have seen, you cannot see pure vision without purifying your chakra and channels and all the things inside you. When you have purified all those things inside you, that means you have purified your karma, you have purified your destructive emotions. So in Buddhist path, we measure our realization based on the 5 paths. So the first 2 paths, they are path of accumulation and application. So those are already accomplished. And when you have the glimpse of the pure vision, the emptiness, the wisdom, the dakini, then what that is saying is now you have seen the path of seeing. So this is the reason why sometimes in traditional sources, then we say Virupa achieved 6th bhumi. So anyhow, he has gone beyond the samsara. See, without going beyond samsara, by purifying the karma and emotion, you cannot see the pure vision. So this is important. So he saw the Naratmya, and then he is now confident about his realization. So this is the reason why maybe for the outside world, and what is your realization inside? See, there is a misunderstanding. Misunderstanding in the sense, when you have seen the path of seeing and you have seen the pure vision, then you have gone beyond what is right and wrong. You have gone beyond what is good and bad. See, good and bad and right and wrong, these are all relative level. So someone who has seen the path of seeing, you have seen the ultimate. Now your context doesn't matter. Your the way of doing doesn't matter. So this is where in the Nalanda, then they have some misunderstanding, and then they because now they realized that he was practicing tantra, and obviously maybe Nalanda was mostly a sutra practice setting, so they asked him to leave. So he left Nalanda, and now he become, before he had the pure vision, he was a pandita. It is not like, you don't know all the philosophical conclusions and you have not studied all the shastras. He did all those things. So that's why, although we say Mahasiddha Virupa, he was, before Mahasiddha, he was a pandita. And then after practicing Chakra now seeing Naradmya, now he is, then with the realization, now he achieved Siddhi. So Siddhi, Mahasiddha means someone who has mastered all the 5 karmas. Karma of peace, karma of increasing, karma of power, karma of subjugation, and most importantly, then the enlightenment. These are the 5 karma. Someone who has achieved this, such one is called Mahasiddha. Now he achieved Siddhi. So anyhow, now as a Mahasiddha, then he left the Nalanda. And this is where you cannot become Mahasiddha without becoming yogi. So that's why one aspect of the Virupa's life is also, Virupa is well known as Yogeshwara. You can find this Yogeshwara in all the Labdha literatures, but also in the Hindu Hatha Yoga is very important. Hatha Yoga, the founder of the Hatha Yoga is Gorakshanath, who is also one of the 84 Mahasiddhas. And in the lineage of the Hatha Yoga, founded by the Mahasiddha Gorakshanath, the Virupa is also in the lineage. Not only that, at present time, when the scholars did lots of research in the universities, and they found that all the Hatha Yoga is based on the Amrita Siddhi, which is composed by Mahasiddha Virupa. So Virupa is Yogeshwara, the Lord of the Yoga, not only because of the hair vajra and like that, but because, all the yogic techniques. Like Hatha Yoga is very different than the Patanjali's, the Yoga Sutras. Hatha Yoga is almost similar to all the Tibetan Buddhist tantric completion practices. Only difference is maybe there's a small variations. So anyhow, so Mahasiddha Virupa is well known as a Yogeshwara, the Lord of the Yoga, and that is proved by his coming episodes. After leaving Nalanda, then he went to Varanasi. If you have gone to India to do holy, pilgrimage, Tirth Yatra, from Nalanda to Varanasi is, if you keep on walking, maybe it will take some time. But these days, it's very close. So anyhow, he keep on wandering, and then he went to the Banaras, and Varanasi is where, see, in one part of the outskirt of the city where the Ganges is flowing. If you have visited there, then you will see nowadays, the banks of the Varanasi is almost like a cremation place, all the Hindus bring their dead bodies, even the animals, cows and buffaloes, they all are dissolved into the Ganges, then humans, they burn, and then all the ashes they throw into the Ganges. Because their mythical thinking is that Ganges is a goddess from the heavenly realm, coming from, Himalayas, and then flowing there. And it is like pure. So whatever is merged into the Ganges, including sin, is purified. So this is where Buddhists and Hindus, they had many debates, not only with the Virupa, even with some other scholars, whether, like water can purify your karma and sin or not. But anyhow, Hindus believe, Ganges can purify all your sins and karma. But Buddhists say karma can be purified either by, doing lots of Vajrasattva. If karma is new, if it is not ripened, then you can do purification practice like Vajrasattva or Vajrasattva Hiruga or confessions. But if karma is already ripened, then you have to experience the result. If it is negative karma, you experience the pain and suffering. That's the only way to purify. See, you cannot wash karma. Buddha himself has said. But Hindus think they can wash the karma. So they think Ganges is very clean, pure, so pure that they can purify all the dirty things. So what Virupa did is, he reached the bank of Ganges and he said, I am the most wicked person. I am the most dirty person. So I don't want to pollute the Ganges. So Ganges should please give me the space to work. And so he, as he asked, then Ganges parted and gave him the space to walk. So how this is possible? If you are not a Yogeshwara, if you don't have some master over the water element, how you can do this? Only yogis who have purified all the elements, I mean, for that matter, if we study the yogic systems and yogic anatomy, our yogic anatomy is no other than the scientific anatomy. The majority part of our physical body is water. So someone yogi who has control and master over the inside water, I'm sure they have power over the outside too. So anyhow, he parted the Ganges and he walked from one bank to the another bank, to the amazement of all those conservative, all those orthodox, all those puritanical practices. I mean, one thing about Brahmins, they are very puritanical, they are very orthodox, and they are extremely conservative. This is the reason why the Hindu has 4 varnas, 4 classes. So this is the reason why they have strong discrimination. And this is the reason why when I was student in Sanskrit University, that was in Banaras. So in Sanskrit University, many of our teachers are Brahmins. So when we have some celebration like birthday celebration, all the teachers, they will not touch anything prepared for them. They will bring their own things from home. because they think, everything else which is touched by others is polluted. Maybe they are very superly hygienic, maybe, but on the other hand, that has become a societal discrimination. This is the reason why India has so much discrimination between the classes, and these classes are not the same like the classes here. Here you earn the class. If you are billionaire, based on your income, you are upper class, middle class, upper middle class, lower class, based on your, here also we have discrimination, but it is based on the income. But there, see, you are born in that caste system, in the family. If you are untouchable for whole life. You cannot go higher. So I think this is a great challenge for all those systems, like Buddha has challenged. Buddha wanted to go beyond the caste system. I think Mahasiddha Virupa, with his yogic power, he challenged all these puritanicals, all these orthodoxical practice, all these very conservative practices of his time. So I think this is amazing. This is amazing. And then from Varanasi, he went to the south. Generally, south is, see, even in my life, I have some experiences. I lived in Sanskrit University for 9 years. I lived there almost 10 years. I live in and around and the manners of people in Banaras. So in Banaras, people chew lots of pan. Even my professors, some of the best professors in India, they chew pan. Pan, leaves. Then they put the lime paste, and then they put some other ingredients, and they chew all day. Even they are teaching. They have some container where they spit. Or sometimes if they are walking the streets, they will pit on the walls. And you see in Banaras, all the campus walls are spitted with almost like a red color from the pan. But in South India, where I grew up, it's very different. They don't chew lots of pan. South India is very intellectual. Where I grew up in Mysore, Belukovi, actually South India has, this is generally known, they have higher IQ. They are very intellectual. But in the same time, South India also has lots of problem with alcohols. If you go, in 60s, I remember there are many toddy shops, they make alcohols from their own local products, from different, they call that toddy shops, So they have a small hut where they sell alcohols. You will see that everywhere, even in the village, everywhere. And then, many of those alcohols, see, quality is not controlled. It's a village, it's a homemade. So sometimes, many people get sick, die. Not only that, then there's a, domestic violence, alcoholism, it's a big societal problem in South India. So it makes sense. Mahasiddha Virupa went to South India and he went to a bar. He drank all the alcohols. In some biography, it said that he drank the alcohols from all the bars of different kingdoms. So when we say bar, it's not like, our present bar here in America. Even in America, where I live, Boston is well known for, drinking because it's a college student, every weekend students, do parties and they drink, and in homes, and also you have many fancy bars, karaoke's. Sometimes after I've done with my class when I walk from center to my home, it's around 10 and 11. The only place which is so lively, busy, is all the bars. All the rest is closed and quiet. So bars are powerful. Alcohol is powerful. So like in India, we don't have that fancy bars, but they're like toddy shops, many, I'm sure. I mean, even in 60s, there are so many toddy shops. Then in Virupa's time, see, every village, everywhere is filled with the toddy shops. So he drank all the toddy, all the alcohols and beers of the kingdom, and wherever he went. I think that's amazing. Amazing in the sense, I think, why he had to drink. I mean, people ask me why he had to drink. One time I went to New York, Rubin Museum, and then there was a guide who come to a statue. You know, he become very more energetic, and then he was explaining about, you know, this episode, saying, you know, Virupa drank all the beers, and then he stopped the sun. You know, he was saying like this, you know. But why Virupa drank alcohol? Why? I think Virupa drank all the alcohol so that he can detox, I think, all those people, so that they become dry. It's a method of detoxing, because it is said in the teachings, you know, he drank all the alcohols, and then all the people of the kingdom become sleepy. There's two ways to fall asleep. Either you drink and then you become sleep, or you become so tired and you drink. So to become tired, Virupa has to break the cycle of the time. So he stopped the sun. So people are, when it comes to sleeping time, see, sun is still up there, but their internal clock is night, so they fall asleep. So anyhow, I think it is from his compassion, his loving love and compassion, to help those people to stop from the drinking. I think he drank. So it has the same effect like detoxing, like we have here in America. See, I mean, this is a yogic detoxing. On the other hand, the simple people, you know, after drinking for a few hours, they get drunk and then they become intoxicated. But in Virupa's case, because he is a Mahasiddha, he never got drunk. Instead of all the alcohol he drank, they energize his yogic power to the point where he can stop the movement of the sun. So some people may be wondering, oh, maybe he stopped the earth, or he stopped sun, you know, whatever it may be. I think he has control over his channels. There is one channel, there are three important channels in us. One channel is sun channel, solar channel, one is lunar channel. So if you have the control over your solar channel, which is the right channel among those three channels, most important three channels, then you have control over the sun. So, I mean, maybe in scientific way, people can debate, say, in the solar system, you know, what is that she stopped? That is irrelevant for the yogis. Yogis, everything can be inside, not from the outside. So that's why I think to help those alcoholics, he shown this episode, including stopping the sun. Whether he actually stopped the sun or not is different. As long as he and people around him, they don't have the effect of the solar energy, that itself is enough. So I think that's only someone who has such a yogic power, especially who has very strong power of the pranayama, breathing yoga, especially the kumbhaka. I think they can do those things. I mean, this is the reason why Mahasiddha, when Mahasiddha Virupa, whenever we have his statue of his painting, we always paint and make his statue with a very big belly. I don't think that big belly is not a beer belly, you know. Sometimes here people see, you know, big belly, then they say, you know, it's a beer belly because you drink too much beer. I mean, only in South India, Mahasiddha Virupa shown this episode. It is not shown in North India. Maybe South has more problem with alcohol because South is more intellectual. They have more higher IQ. Sometimes those who have higher IQ, to stop their racing mind, they have to do something, drink some alcohol. So anyhow, his belly is, if you practice kumbhaka, if you practice and you have good experience with the waste retention, I think your belly will also become a little bit like Mahasiddha Virupa's belly. All Mahasiddha Virupa's belly is not fat. I am sure it is due to the kumbhaka, it is all muscle. If Mahasiddha Virupa is here and if you point your finger to his belly, it is hard as almost like, you know, rock or wood, because it's all muscle from the practice of the pranayama. And those who have done Lamde, you know, Mahasiddha Virupa has lots of pranayama and lots of breathing exercises. Among those, the most important practice is the kumbhaka. So kumbhaka is holding air in the belly, and when you hold the air in the belly, then belly will become, you know, like a balloon. So that's what Mahasiddha proves that. And then from South India, he went to Saurashtra. I think these days, maybe it is like in Gujarat. See, Gujaratis are some of the richest people are from the Gujarat. See, it's a very wealthy state. And also it is not only wealthy. Even today, the richest Indians are from the Gujarat. See, Ambanis are also from Gujarat. Tatas are also from Gujarat. They started from there. Something is there in that state. And also leaders like Gandhi, Modi, they are also from Gujarat. So they have, see, it's a place of power and wealth. So he went there. And then there was a shrine where people were doing lots of sacrifices. See, Bali, life sacrifices. They were killing lots of animals and like that. So that is where then he did prostration to the shrine, and the statue of the shrine cracked. And then people got scared, and then they asked him, you know, what to do. And he asked them to stop life sacrificing. See? So all these episodes, they have great spiritual meanings, and also they are meant to benefit, I think, people and including the animals. So like this, I think we have to understand that Mahasiddha Virupa was, in essence, was a great Pandita and was a great Mahasiddha and was the greatest wandering Yogeshwara, the Lord of Yoga, Lord of Yoga. So also, I want to emphasize that after, when he left Nalanda, then he gave his robes back, and then as a Mahasiddha, he was a wandering yogi. So yogis don't care about, all the monastic rules, because they are yogis, So they mix with the ordinary simple people, all the yogis, even the Doha, which is in my book, which I have commended. These Dohas were actually sung by the Mahasiddhas to the simple common people in the marketplaces to introduce spiritual meanings. So like this, if we understand Mahasiddha Virupa, then we will be amazed and our devotion will become more stronger. And then what we can do to follow and become like Mahasiddha Virupa? Then, his legacy as a teaching and practice is, we have all the Lamde teachings. When I was the director of the Sakya Center, we have published all the Lamde texts. And in our edition, we had 31 volumes. Whatever we can find, we collected and we published 31. But the essence of those Lamde teachings are He Vajra Sadhana. And He Vajra Sadhana, the essence of the He Vajra Sadhana is 10 yogas. And those yogas, if we bring into our life, the realization is the Mahamudra. Mahamudra, I want to make this distinction. In Sakya, Mahamudra is only in the highest Anuttara Tantra, like He Vajra, Chakra Samvara, Vajrayogini, the highest Tantra. And only after practicing the sadhana with the Ngondo, beginning of all the sadhana Ngondo practice, for common practices, for uncommon practices, then that will help to practice the generation stage practice. And when you have good experience of the generation stage practice, then you are ready to do the completion practices. And then if you are successful in your completion practice, then you have the realization of the Mahamudra. Mahamudra. Mahamudra, if we make it simple, Maha means great, Mudra means, Mudra in Sanskrit, Mudra, some days, some scholars translate this as ceiling. But the real meaning of the Mudra means whatever will draw the bliss. That's called Mudra. So in some sense, indirectly, what the meaning translation is great bliss. So this great bliss one can experience is not just philosophy. It is not just practice. It's a living experience. And Mahamudra, you can great bliss, you can experience at the physical level. You can experience at the verbal level. You can also experience at the mental level. And you can experience at all the complete person. So that's why there are 4 kinds of Mahamudras. See, Mahamudra is experiential at the whole person. It is not like only great bliss in the mind, but you experience as all the dimension of the person, you experience the great bliss, Mahamudra. And once you have experienced the Mahamudra, then you are enlightened. So in Sakya, Mahamudra is the result of practice of sadhana, a complete sadhana, Anuttara sadhana, and it is based from the tantric, because to experience the Mahamudra, you rely on completion stage practice. You cannot find completion practice in sutra. So this is the reason why, see, it's called Mahamudra. So in sutra, then there is Madhyamika, there is Heart Sutra, all those, but there you cannot find the term Mahamudra in the sutra. So, see, people ask me, what is Mahamudra? Mahamudra is experience. So this is experience. See, in this book, what I have tried, in my book, it has 133 pages. All the commentary I've given on the Mahamudra Dohas. So Mahamudra Doha is to inspire you, to inspire into your practice. See, so it is like pointing reference. And when you are inspired, then you wanted to look. So that's why book is like, see, I like this Zen parable. We know one time, Zen student asked a master where is moon. So, the teacher was pointing the finger to the moon, but the student is just looking at the finger. So like that, you should not, I mean, this book, all these writings, one way or another is pointing to that moon. So we should not miss the moon by attaching to the finger. All the teachings, the books on Mahamudra, they are just, you are looking to the finger. But the real moon is when you practice, when you experience, then you have the real experience of the Mahamudra. So that's what we have to be we should understand. And then I said I will talk a little bit about Mahamudra. So Mahamudra and Dzogchen is same. This is not different. Reason is, say, Mahasiddha Virupa referred to 4 Mahamudras. The first Mahamudra is Nang Tong Sungju. This is related with the physical aspect of the person. When you have the Mahamudra experience, then you see all the appearance of the sense organs, whether it's a visual object, whether it's sound, whether it's smell or touchable, everything. You see the union of appearance and emptiness together. That's how, physically you have the, orgasmic, blissful experience. And then second Mahamudra is union of expression and emptiness. So that is related with speech. So all the letters and the channels and the sound we express, our sound we hear, you have the experience, the realization of union of emptiness and sound in you. So that's the second one. And third experience is Riktong. See, Rikpa. See, that is the most essential nature of the mind. That is experienced with the union of emptiness. So sometimes in the Dzogchen, they talk about Rikpa, the Rikpa, So that is the third Mahamudra, Riktong Sungju. And then there's a fourth Mahamudra, which is called Detong Sungju. Detong Sungju means union of bliss and emptiness. So, see, the whole person, you are always in ecstasy. Because, see, now the whole person, you experience everything in the universe in the state of union of bliss and emptiness. So it doesn't matter. Even you are in hell, you'll be in bliss and emptiness. This is the reason why some Buddhas and Bodhisattvas go in the hell. I'm sure they go in the hot hell and cold well. And if we go there, we'll be burned, we'll be, freeze, and we will have expense. But for them, They have the bliss and emptiness. So no, the environment doesn't matter. So this is the power of the Mahamudra. So like this we can experience, so these are all mentioned in the Mahasiddha Virupa's practices. I said Lamde, or even the yogic practices, everything is there. Now the thing is, we have to practice. So see, in Sakya, we do the 4 unbreakable practices. Hevaja is one thing, Hevajasan. Then second is Virupa's protection, which is amazing. So like this, we have different practices. So I think I talked too much. Now I'll stop here. If you have a couple of questions, we can discuss. Please feel free to question. We will start the Q&A.
Khenpo, would you like for us to put the questions into the chat, or may we just ask you individually?
Oh, I have to know the question because I'm using my iPhone. I cannot read the chat.
Okay.
So you have to, I think, if you are using chat, you read the question to me, then only I can answer, right?
Okay.
Yeah. Any questions?
I think also if anybody has a question, they can unmute and ask the question, or use the raise hand function. But not everybody probably knows how to use that. But you can just unmute and speak freely, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, unmute and ask the question. Yeah.
Well, I don't have a question yet, but I do want to thank you for the teaching. It was very rich, and I really look forward to reading your book. And I really appreciated the historical and cultural context you gave to the teachers' lives, and to kind of like the reasons why things are the way they are. It's really interesting to listen to. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Welcome.
Khenpo, can you hear me? My name is Bob White.
Oh yes, I hear you. Yeah.
I am presently in your year-long Vajrayogini retreat, and I'm very much hoping you will continue. You will have enough people to join your Vajra retreat, because I would very much like to attend that. But at the risk of not saying this very well, first let me say I absolutely love your description of Virupa and your assessment of his notions about what he was doing at the time and the detoxing and so forth. I mean, if I were unmuted during your talk, you would have heard me laughing delightedly many times. It was wonderful, and I love your sense of humor. And I'm new to you, but I feel like I'm very fortunate to have time with you. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. Welcome.
And so on the topic of Mahamudra, I have your book. I've been reading some of it. One of the chapters is who, I don't want to say it wrong, but I think it's something like who is eligible, or who will be able to recognize the accomplishment of Mahamudra. And I think I know, in a very limited way what the answer to that is. But what would you suggest? This is, I'm sorry, this is a very broad, and I realize from a rookie, not very sophisticated question, but I would appreciate hearing what you think.
I think who will recognize the Mahamudra, you know, so when you become Buddha, Buddha has two kinds of wisdom. So we always say Buddha is omniscient. Why Buddha is omniscient is Buddha knows all the relative things as well as the ultimate nature of all the things, and that's why Buddha is omniscient. And someone who recognize, I think, who become enlightened, who have seen the Mahamudra, at that moment, I think that person will have the wisdom. But at the same time, when you say who, see, right now we are learning everything as a knowledge, and we refer that who as a person. But I have to emphasize that when you have realized the Mahamudra, then the who, the person, is gone, because self is gone, ego is gone. Who, see, what you project as I am, that is gone, you know. So it is the wisdom which is gone beyond the person, recognized out is in the nature of Mahamudra. But in the same time, you will not be going around saying that I have realized Mahamudra, this and that, and like that, you know. So from where we are now, and you know what you have realized, sometimes, you know, there's a little bit of things to go beyond, you know, go beyond, you know. So I mean, person is gone, but still the wisdom is there. So that in that wisdom, you have the realization, you have the recognition.
Well, thank you very much for that. It sounds like purification is the name of the game.
Yeah,
and,
we have to start from the purification, because if we go according to the Buddhist path, you know, path is the accumulation. Accumulation is accumulating the merit. Merit is accumulated to purify the negative karma, you know, and the destructive emotions, you know.
Is it fair to ask you at this point in time whether you intend to proceed with the Have Ezra retreat that is advertised?
I plan to. This is the reason why I announced, but still, I mean, I'm waiting for the response, you know. So see, so I'm still waiting. This is the reason why you have not received the reply, but I plan to, you know. So you will hear something, yeah.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Sorry to ask you. Put you on the spot.
also, I will be doing announcing Mahasiddha Virupa's Birsung, you know, the protection, which is one of the 4 unbreakables of the Sakya, Birsung, the Virupa's intimate protections practice. So that is concise, can be done in shorter time. That will definitely happen. So see, I think you wanted to join to that retreat.
Yes, and you know, I'm sorry to make this personal, but I'm interested in the completion practices. And you mentioned during your talk the extensive completion practices that Mahasiddha Virupa explained, you know, to Sachen. And will we hear more from you on that?
Yeah, in the course of retreat, you know, we will go through that. You know, for last 1 year, I was doing Vajrayogini retreat, and we went through all the Vajrayogini completion practice. Last 1 year. So this year is the second 1 year retreat on Vajrayogini. So last year we went through all the completion practice. All the completion practice in Vajrayogini as well as Vajra. I think there are many practices, you know, pretty much similar, you know. So they are based on breathing practices, kumbhakas, then tumu practices, then nadi shodanas, then bliss practices, So, ultimately, whether you practice yogini or hair vajra, you to realize the Mahamudra and then achieve the rainbow body, So those the many are similar,
Another selfish, personal question, and then I'll stop. I promise.
Okay.
Is there a way to access the past year's 11 yogas training that you gave?
Oh, see, those are just oral teachings, and so we don't have, we don't have any, records and like that. But you have received the whole Lamde, right?
Yes.
So in Lamde, you have all the Tumu practice and all the components of. Mahasiddha Virupa has 7 different the breathing exercises. Among them, the Kumbhaga is most important. Then there are yantra practices. So all the components are there in the Lamde too.
But my experience was there was not much special teaching given on those practices. Or experience or guiding through the experience that would benefit me and others, who might be interested, I think. But okay. I'll stop because I'm asking too many questions. Thank you so very much. I'm so delighted to have your insight. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, welcome.
There's a question from Sonia in the chat. Would you like to unmute, Sonia, or otherwise I will read the question to Khenpo. Okay.
Thank you. I'll read my own question because I'm not an English speaker, but I'll try. Please, Rinpoche, Khenpo, I would like to know more about the relation between the Hatha Yoga and the practice of Tantra. Is it the pranayama what matters, or also the asanas? How do we structure our practice, including the pranayamas? I took the Namdrol also, all the Namdrol, but they didn't include the breathing exercises. I would like to include that too, please. Thank you.
No, in Namdrol there is a breathing exercises. They are breathing, Virupa has 7 different breathing exercises, I think if you have received Lamde has everything what is in the Hatha Yoga and maybe more. I think in Hatha Yoga, sometimes, the Hindu yogis, they give importance more for the asana, physical part of the exercise. But actually, physical part of the exercise is secondary. Most important is, I think, breathing exercise and tumu and nadi shodhana. That this is also part of the breathing exercises. And so, whatever. Only thing is maybe sometimes terms are a little bit different, but it is there. But one difference I have to mention is, see, Hatha Yoga sometimes referred to as Hindu, and it is based on, theistic. So sometimes like that, So Buddhist, even you practice completion practice, you have to have a sadhana. So sadhana is based on taking refuge, bodhisattva vow, then the emptiness, and then generation like this, So the structure is a little bit different, different. So otherwise, there are components which can be, all the Hatha Yoga things you can find. And the one difference in the Hatha Yoga, you talk about asanas, physical postures, but in Lamde, it's called yantra. So when you talk about yantra yoga, yantra includes physical posture. Also, it has the breathing exercise. Also, it has samadhi, all 3 in one posture. That's a big difference, different than Hatha Yoga. What I was saying is Hatha Yoga is based on one of the Virupa's teaching called Amrita City. But I'm not saying, you know, all the Lamde is same with the Hatha Yoga. You know, Lamde may be much more than Hatha Yoga. Okay.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Mike Morris, would you like to address Khenpo with your question?
Yes, thank you. And thank you for your teaching, Khenpo. I've received both the common and uncommon Namdrol from His Holiness Sakya Trichen Rinpoche. My question or request is, over the years, I've had a lot of resistance to accumulating my Ngundro practices. I've recently started accumulating prostrations and Vajrasattva mantras again. I'm interested in anything you have to say, particularly inspirational things about the significance of Ngundro, particularly in relationship to developing the capacity to directly experience the nature of mind. I know that's a big question, but I'm interested in whatever you might have to say about that. Thank you, Rinpoche.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. That's a good one. You know, you received complete Lamde, common and uncommon. That's, you know, complete, very good. You are lucky, you are fortunate. Then, you know, when it comes to practice, see, there's some commitments. Sometimes when after receiving Lamde, you know, if you have received completely, then you are also supposed to do sadhana daily, you know. So daily sadhana is important. One thing I have to emphasize is Ngondo is also in the sadhana. So you can do Ngondo with the sadhana, and also you can accumulate Ngondo outside sadhana. So in all the sadhana, if you are doing Hevaja sadhana or any other sadhana, there is a refuge, there is a bodhicitta, there is a Vajrasattva. I mean, usually you accumulate, you know, prostration with the refuge, so they can go to do together. And then there's a mandala offerings, there's Guru Yoga and like that. So pretty much, see, what I think is, while doing the sadhana every day, even though it is difficult to do, like, you know, 6 limb sadhana, which is very long, but there are some concise sadhana. I have translated several Hevaja sadhana. Especially, I have translated one uncommon concise sadhana, Hevaja sadhana by Chogyam Trichen Rinpoche, you know, who is, guru to many lineage masters. So his is very concise. While doing the concise sadhana as a commitment of every day, then in the same time, if you accumulate the Ngondo practice, I think then you can have both. Otherwise, if you focus only on Ngondo, and then Ngondo takes your whole life, and then you could not make any connection to the sadhana and the Hevaja, I think then something is missing, you know. So that's why I think this is my approach. See, whether it's Hevaja, Vajrayogini, see, while you keep the commitment of doing the sadhana every day, then inside the sadhana, outside the sadhana, you keep on, then in the beginning, accumulating the Ngondo practice.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I have a question.
Okay.
I like the fact that even if we've completed all of our 100,000 in Ngundro, we keep doing the sadhana, we're doing our Ngundro. I mean, that's kind of great. But also, when you said about the Virsung, like a whole session or teaching on those protection practices, at the end of Lamdre were handed out, at least the one that I had from His Holiness, like a few pages of extra practices that are like the 4 Vajras and things. I was wondering if that's included in what you're going to teach, and also who and what is being protected. You know, there's no who.
I mean, you know, when there's no who, then you don't need protection. So
Well,
who
that's
is
what I was
one?
wondering.
So who is one right now who is vulnerable? You know, with the COVID and with all the insecurities and anxiety, and who is vulnerable? For that, you need protection. You know, so who is that? If you are not that, you don't need. If you are that, you have lots of mental chatterings, and you have, you know, all that, then you may need. You know, that is who.
So I'm wondering, isn't that crazy?
That you is who.
Thank you.
Welcome. Welcome.
I feel much better now. Maybe bliss will come soon.
I think don't give too much reliance on this momentary bliss or happiness. You know,
Okay.
they come and go. They come and go. You need something more reliable. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Welcome.
Very good. Dorjela, did you want to unmute?
Okay.
I'm sorry, we didn't know you were on earlier because it didn't say your name. So sorry.
Oh, I didn't register it. So,
Yeah.
Khenpo Migmar la ini test the lecture da.
Oh, taste
Ini di Sakya Trichen ni ngema dunjus to ina ngemi la doji kenzi ngwa kingu na Khenpo Migmar la.
dunju de paga 가져가 쉬우래. 쉬도라.
생디 더 당가 쉬우야 뭐 챙기면도 dunju ki 엔드와 인게래. 연대 상봉하서 열이다. 연대 상봉체. 네가 그러나 게 캠블라 제뉴스도
아주 토뉴 얘기래. 나 추조라 겐지치도 담발야 저도 계속 해질 봐.
레스
개지네 전에 개구바도로와 제가 개 시우랑 얘기 가대에다 챙기면도 연단 상보도 연단 상보 나 요백깔이요 연단 상보 공상만 예 챙기도
연대 상보더니 까체라더디 사실 개중에도 있어요.
다 바지 날 이야기 줄도 이렇게 폐차비브리네.
인게라 다베쟁아 마수리 보김 리무칸 주임바 디레. 나라 데트린데 리무치 켐보게 단다 톡도 빼아우나서 단다디 단다디 마하무드라 다 이니 단다 베루바기 디 페메세 야부 순전나서 디 투체쇼이.
투시. 다음에 내 다리스간 제요 말방에 쪼다우디 예 예자 탭스도요 와.
또 탭빙할이요.
wisdom 기 파르갑니다. 탭디 냐마마 비루바게 차징기 숭구시도 와 숭구.
let's.
잉에 유루 any 딜라야 any 디 루브도조기 티로스 람닝에기 마 가소레 디셰드 갑디 chen 탭스요레. 다 지금 강디보다 근데 요 말이 단단하게 있잖아요. 가 somebody 독전에 태갈 납셔줬는데.
제레 인 캠블라 단디 워너스 레페 롤.
나 와라나실라 아자레 체르바 아자레 체르바
let's.
레레 로 굿데브레 아자레 체르레.
let's.
초도라 마장엘 마네 아자레 톰버리.
let's. let's. 단다 빼야오죠. 다 드리 제네 빼 가오죠서.
당가도 아릴라 journey that is do or the that dinderoji comes on chene ke chene madoshe yangse tu mi do
re
na ever gingema sarkaje show se do the da ngara de yanji gora storm de ji thewa of che chene yan di ma so no
re page saja khawa ina ari
Cambridge
let's.
Boston la tanda de Harvard MIT yo sa jorwa
re let's.
di jasa de Boston lagri ina una chena Cambridge di Boston da kagarwa
re let's.
there you
let's. Yeah. let's ni tuchena Khenpo Migmar
let's
ini let's tuchena
let's
Any April?
Hello, April.
Hello.
Hello, in
Yes.
April, and thank you for organizing this wonderful teaching from Lama Migmar. Thank you for Maria and all the Dharma brothers and sisters who joined today. And I would like to thank everybody. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dorjila.
Okay.
Thank you, Khenpo. And
So we will conclude.
yes, please. Would you like to do the dedication?
Yeah, I will do a short dedication. Yeah.
Thank you.
So whatever merit we have accumulated by teaching and receiving, so we will dedicate to circumstantially overcome all the pandemic and also all the natural disasters like global warming, flooding, global heating. I think actually, yeah, I think in the West Coast, you hear such news, where many people are dying with record heat, and then flooding around the world in China, Europe, even in India, and to overcome those, and then finally to achieve the Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. For that, I will do a short dedication from, actually, I have a book from Noble King of Prayer. So I will do this dedication from here. So actually, I have published this Sangjo Myolam on the Amazon, which has Tibetan. Actually, it has Sanskrit, Tibetan, then phonetics and English translation. So I think this booklet is with all these different language, and so students find this very good. So I will do dedication from the last part of this prayer. Jamba Bavu Jida Jamba Dang Gondo Zambo Dea Dejendo Deda Gunje Jesu Dalo Jengewa Deda Damje Rabdu Mo Tuzun Jive Yawa Damje Ye Ngowa Gala Judonga Wade Dagi Gevezawa Digi Jan Zambu Juje Rabdu Ngwara Ye Dani Jive Duje Yuvana Diva Damje Dani Jiza De Nawa Daya De Dona De Wajin Jeshin De Rabdu De Zonde Melan De Da Jan De Jamalu Mundu Jiwaju Teda Malu Nagi Yunzuga Jiden Jizin Jambamba Ye Yave Jinkon Se Kawa De Vemon Vajin Dozale Je Nawa De Jave Muzundu Lunden Bayan Dagi Dedo Jo Dene Dagi Lunden Rabdu Ne Tuba Mumbu Jiva Da Yaye Loye Togi Chuju Namsu Yang Simjana La Pemba Mumbu Ye Zambo Juve Melan Dongba Ye Gewa Juze Dagi Jizava Dene Duwe Melan Gewa Na Geji Jige Tamje Juvaju Kaya Zambo Juva Dingwe Sona Taya Damba Kanto De Duwe Dunga Chuo Jingwa Na Ruba Mebe Nera Tobaju Melan Jabo De Da Joge Do Taya Duwa Guma Beje Jan Gundo Zambo Jembe Juno Ngason Ne Na Malu Dongbara Jo. So thank you all. Thank you well for having this opportunity. Thank you, all of you, especially again, all of you at the Tsechen Namdrol for organizing this. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much for teaching
Thank
us.
you, Rinpoche.